Hey guys, this is Mrs. Keller. I'm going to give you a short video about some subtraction strategies to help you take the fear out of subtraction. The strategies I'm going to review in this video are the round and adjust strategy, decompose or break apart strategy, the add instead, and the same difference. If we look at the round and adjust, what we're going to do is we're going to round one of the numbers and then adjust the answer either forward or back using addition and subtraction. Decompose or break apart is where we're going to break apart numbers in a variety of ways. Add instead, notice the icons are like money. Add instead is like when somebody counts back change. Same difference, that uses the principle of if you move a crayon down a ruler, it's going to be the same difference between the numbers no matter where you put it. The first strategy, round and adjust. Remember when we're doing our rounding rules, we need to use the rules of 5 or larger, we go up, 4 or less, we stay the same. So the first thing we do is we're going to round and we're going to adjust. When we look at this first problem, I think, ouch, 72 minus 37, I'm going to have to borrow. Ouch, that's some crazy borrowing. So the first part is the round part, where we're going to make the second number, which is this 37, we're going to think to ourselves, 37 is about 40, so 72 minus 40 equals 32. Here's the adjust part. We need to think about 40 is 3 more than 37, so we took out 3 too much. So 3 plus 35 is our final answer. So our final answer of 72 minus 37 is 35. So we need to still round on this round and adjust, as this one's a little bit easier to show in a number line. So we still need to think 37 is about 40. So we make our big jump starting at 72, and we're going to go all the way back subtracting 40. So that's going to leave us with 32. But we went too far. Between 40 and 37, we went 3 too far. So we need to add back in 3. So our answer is 35. When you round and adjust with the number line, this is where your answer will be. I want you to try this one. Go ahead and try this on your own. Pause the video. You should have unpaused your video now. Let's take a look at what the answer could look like for the 93 minus 29. There are more than one correct answer as long as you adjust. Here is one sample answer. So here's just using numbers and thought. We started with 93 minus 29, so we know that 29 is about 30. So 93 minus 30 is 63. Notice we're just subtracting our tens place to get this 63. I took one too many because 29 is 1 less than 30. So I need to add that back in. So 63 plus 1 is 64. So 64 equals 93 minus 29, or 93 minus 29 equals 64. So these are the same answers. Okay, here's showing it in a number line form. We started at 93. Our rounding was the 29 to 30, so we subtracted the 30. We went 1 too far, so we had to come back, and our answer is 64. Our next strategy is decompose or break apart. Decompose and break apart really mean the same thing. So decomposing things are just things that are breaking down. Breaking apart is taking something and putting it into pieces. So we're going to start out with our same problem of the 72 minus 37 that we did in our first problem. So this is what we need to think about. The first thing we need to do is we need to subtract our tens place. So we need to take our 72 minus that 30. So 72 minus 30 is 42. Because we're thinking about, how can I break this number apart to make it easier? And normally when we do traditional subtraction, we're starting from the right and moving left. But this time, I'm allowing you, based on your number sense, to take the tens group out first, because that's a little easier. So our 72 minus 30 is 42. But we're not done. We haven't used all of that 37 yet. So we want to look at this number 42. How can we make it so that there's a 0 in the ones place? So to make that a nice 0 there, we're going to take a 2 out. So 42 minus 2 is 40. But we're still not done. We only have subtracted 32, and we need to subtract 37. We still have 5 left. So I still have 5 left, so I need to take 40 minus 5 and get 35. So all of these numbers in here add up to make this 37. So 72 minus 37 is 35. Let's take a look at how that would look on a number line. To decompose and break that number apart, we're still working with that 72 minus 37. So we're going to start at our 72. We're going to take that tens place out, which is 30. So we're going to jump back 30. So 72 minus 30 is going to leave us with 42. We want to take this 2 out of here to make it a nice round, even number, so it ends in a 0. So we're going to subtract a 2. We're left then with 40. Remember, we still need to get up to that 37 here, and we have 5 left. So we need to subtract another 5, and then we would have 35. Now it's your turn. Go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to try to do 82 minus 49. Let's take a look at a possible answer for that 82 minus 49. Here is one way to do it. We're going to take our 82 minus 49. So I'm going to take my tens group, which is 40. So 82 minus 40 is 42. I want to make 42 a nice number with a 0, so I take that 2 out. So 42 minus 2 is 40. I have 7 left, so I break that 7 into a 5 and a 2 because I know that I can subtract 5 easily from 40. So 40 minus 5 is 35. I still have that 2 left, so 35 minus 2 is 33. Remember, it doesn't matter what you use for this second group, this green group, as long as the second number adds up to that original number. So you could have done this a little bit differently. Like if you kept this 7 together because you know what 40 minus 7 is quickly in your head, go right ahead. But I find it a little bit easier to avoid the borrowing by taking a nice 5 out of there. When I do 7s, it's kind of confusing. Decompose and break apart usually looks better on a number line to me, and it's easier for me to see. So if you did a number line version, here's what a number line version would look like. You start with an 82, and again we're taking that tens group, subtracting that 40, we're left with 42, making that a nice number with a 0 at the back, so we're subtracting 2 and making it 40. We still have 7 left, so I took that 5 away and got 35. I took 2 away to get all the way up to 49, and I was left with 33. Here's the alternative way to do it as well, if you can decompose numbers a little bit differently. So if you started with 82, of course, take your tens group, getting to 42, take your 2, leading to 40. And then if you took your whole 7, you would subtract that out and get 33, because you might know that your 7 plus 3 is 10s. So knowing those friends of tens will really help you in the decompose and break apart strategy. The same difference strategy is the next strategy we're going to take a look at. The same difference strategy, notice the icon looks like a ruler. And remember at the beginning of the video I talked about the same difference is kind of like something on top of a ruler. So if I put this toothbrush on my ruler, this nice ruler for printableruler.net, nice place to go for any of your printable ruler needs. If I'm talking about the same difference, remember difference is like a distance. So my toothbrush is a little under 7 inches. But if I move it down the ruler, it still stays the same, about 7 inches. It doesn't matter where I put it on the ruler, it's going to be the same distance or the same difference, no matter where I put it. Let's take a look at the actual numbers that I used for this one. And we need to think in our head, how can I make my second number end in a 0? And we want it to end in a 0, so it's easy for us to subtract. So we're starting with our good old problem, 72 minus 37. I want this to end in a 0. So I know my friends of 10 are 3 plus 7 makes it 10. So 37 plus 3 is 40. And just like in math, in all math that we've learned, whatever we do to one, we need to do it to both, because we need to be able to move them both. Much like I move my ruler, I didn't move just one point of my toothbrush on the ruler, I moved both points. So I'm moving both points 3 over. So 37 plus 3 was 40, so I took 72 plus 3 and got 75. The difference between there is just subtracting the tens. 7 minus 4 is 3. 5 minus 0 is 5. So 75 minus 40, again, is 35. Let's take a look at how this looks on a number line. So we're doing our 72 minus 37. So we need to find the same difference. This one's a little bit harder to show on the number line because we have to kind of move it around. So we're going to start over on this side, and we're going to write our 37 here. And remember, we wanted to make it a nice even number. So we're adding that 3 to it. So we're moving over, we're plussing 3. So our new spot here is 40. We also need to put that 72, and we can't put our 72 all the way down to the end. The 72 needs to be a little bit in. So we're going to put our 72 about here. Okay, and then we need to move this one also 3 places, which is going to leave us with 75. So looking at the principle like what we did with our toothbrush, we had to move both points. So this point to this point is 35, but also this point to this point is 35. And I like to use the symbols plus or minus on both of those because really it could go either way. This is one strategy that looks a little bit better on This is one strategy that I really don't recommend using a number line on. I recommend that you just do a problem like I did in the first slide. So doing a problem more like this. So here's the problem I want you to try. So go ahead and pause your video. I want you to try 46 minus 27. All right, go ahead and unpause your video, and here's what that should look like. Like I said, same difference is one that looks a little bit better when we're using addition problems like this. So again, we're looking at the second number. We want to make it a nice number with a 0. So 27, we added 3 to make it 30. What we do to one, we need to do to the other one. So 46 plus 3 is 49. When we subtract those two, we only have to subtract the tens group then. So we're left with 1 there, and 9 minus 0 is 9. Here's what it can look like on a number line. Again, not the best representation. Again, it's like the toothbrush, where we have to move both points. So our first connecting is plus or minus 19 between 27 and 46, because we know that 49 and 30 have a difference plus or minus 19 as well. This is the add instead strategy. In this strategy, I like to think about it like counting change back. When you work someplace and you give somebody change, you're usually counting the change back to them. So think about this as our second number is like our price tag. Our product costs $37, and for whatever reason, you accidentally wrote your very last check and you have no cash, so you wrote it for $72. So what we need to do as a cashier, we need to add our money back to make our 72. So in this strategy, we're starting with 37. We want to make it a nice round number. So we're adding 3 because we know our friend's a 10. 7 plus 3 is 10. So 37 plus 3 is 40. Then we want to get as close to the tens group without going over. So we add 30 to it because 40 plus 30 is 70. We couldn't add any more because then we would go over. We still have 2 left to get to 72. So that's what we add next. So 70 plus 2 is 72. We're adding from this number all the way up. So we're kind of counting up. So when we find our answer, what we're going to do is we're going to put all these numbers together. 3 plus 30 plus 2 is going to equal 35. 72 plus minus 37 is 35, just like it was in the rest of the problems. We're on a number line. So we're taking that 72 minus 37, but we're making change, so we're adding instead. So in this number line, we're actually going to start over here, and we're going to try to end up at 72. So the first thing we need to do, we need to make that a nice number with a 0 behind it. So we're going to add 3 to it, and we're going to get 40. So we're now at 40, but we're trying to get to 72. So let's look at our tens. To get to 40, from 40 to 72, we need to add 30. So we're now at 70, and that's the closest we can get without going over in our tens group. So we still have our leftover of 2, so we need to add in our 2. On this strategy, remember our answers on the top, because they're the numbers that are all added up. So 30 plus 3 plus 2 is 35. So that's what it would look like on a number line. I want you to try on your own, pause the video, doing that instead with 64 minus 19. Pause your video. Here's what a possible answer might look like using the add instead strategy. So again, this is one that looks a little bit better when you use a number line. So we're starting with that 19. We want to make it a nice even number with a 0. So 19 plus 1, we have 20. Then we're trying to get to the closest 10, so we added 40, which made 60. We're adding 4 more to make 64. When we add all of our top numbers together, we get 45. Here's what it would look like if you were using just a straight across adding. So when you do it, I usually do it a piece at a time. You're going to start at 19 plus 1 to make 20. We want to make it a 0 at the end. Then we need to add our tens in to make it 60. And then we add what's left to make it 64. Then we add all the numbers that we added as we count it up, and we get 45. So let's review. Our strategies again that we learned about are first, round and adjust, where we're rounding that second number to a number that is close and adjusting back or forward the difference. Our second strategy we learned was decompose or break apart. This allows us to move throughout the numbers and do the tens place first and make it a little bit easier. We can also try to avoid some of that borrowing. Our add instead was more like making change. And we also looked at the strategy of seeing difference, where we're looking at it like a ruler. So here's your challenge, those who are watching. Let's take a look at these problems. I want you to try 2 methods for each of the problems 1 through 4. I want you to try 2 of the methods that we learned in the video. Please don't use the traditional method. Try 2 of these, either the round and adjust, decompose, add instead, or the same difference. If you want to challenge yourselves, you can challenge yourself with these problems. Notice they're 3-digit minus 2-digit, 3-digit minus 3-digit, and there's some ones with zeros in there. Those are a little bit harder. Please check in the show notes for the answers. Thanks for watching.